Welcome to the IonaHoops.com podcast with your host, Guy Flatico.
At long last, it's here. Season 5, Episode 1 of the IonaHoops.com podcast. That means we're into preview season here on the podcast. And what better way to preview the team than to give some feedback on what we just saw. Some of us, some Iona fans, a good amount of us actually, were in New Rochelle last night for an open practice, and we got to watch the team scrimmage for a couple hours in essence. And so I'll be sharing some thoughts about that. We also have some audio from Tobin Anderson, as well as 3 different players. So lots to come in this podcast in terms of information about what this team looks like as we kick off preview season here. Season 5. Look at that. 5 seasons. That's crazy. Anyway, before we get to all that fun stuff, we do have one very large Iona Iota, and it's about the schedule.
Iona Iotas.
That's right. We have a full schedule, more or less. The full non-conference slate has been announced. We know all the dates. We know every opponent except for what's going on in Bahamas. Don't get me started there. And we actually have an entire MAC slate as well that's been released. So let's talk about this schedule. We'll run through the whole non-conference real quick right now. We're going to open up November 4th at Princeton, then November 8th at Hofstra, November 12th home opener against Delaware. Next game is November 15th, home versus Vermont. Then November 20th at West Virginia. November 25th versus Cornell. That's a whole lot of November games for the Gales. Tested early. Then 3 games in Bahamas from November 29th, that's the day after Thanksgiving, to December 1st, which is the Sunday after Thanksgiving. 3 games we're playing in the Bahamar. The teams are not set yet, so we will figure out who that is. But that event is happening, and we're playing 3 games there no matter what. So know that. There'll be a MAC weekend in there, and then we're going to have a little bit of a break in there before we reconvene with non-conference, and that would be December 22nd at Colgate, and then wrapping up non-conference play December 29th, home versus Harvard. So that's a fun slate. Not too many gimmies in there. As a matter of fact, no gimmies in there. What's your take on what the schedule is? Let me know on non-conference. That's always a big off-season topic right about now as we start to get toward August and September. What's Iona going to go in those 11 games? We don't know about what's going to happen in the Bahamas. You want to focus on the 8 games that we do know, go for it. Are we going 6-2? Are we going 4-4? Are we going 2-6? Love to hear from you guys. So tweet at me, message on the board. Let's hear it. Then we have some action. MAC basketball gets underway. We are going to have some fun here with this slate. The MAC weekend starts, as you know, it's in December. And now we have 13 teams in our league. So remember that we are playing, there's only 4 teams. There are 4 teams that we're not going to see twice. So here's the schedule. We'll go through the whole thing real quick. December 6th, hey, new member, let's open up against them at Sacred Heart. Then December 8th, MAC champion St. Peter's. Clarence Rupert's looking forward to that one. Then we, again, don't play again until January 3rd, hosting Marist. January 5th at Siena. Siena fans are already grumbling about that because the game is during their student break. Wah. Anyway, January 10th at Fairfield. January 12th, Quinnipiac. 16th is Canisius at home. A bye on the 18th. That's actually noted in our schedule. The 23rd at Ryder, 25th home for Siena, 31st at Manhattan, February 2nd home for Fairfield, the 6th at Mount St. Mary's. That is our only meeting against Mount St. Mary's, by the way. The 8th is at Marist, the 12th home for Ryder, the 14th at Quinnipiac, 21st home for Manhattan, the 23rd home for Merrimack. That is our only meeting with Merrimack on the slate. The 28th will be at Niagara. And then we get into March. At Canisius on 3-2. We have a bye on 3-6. And we wrap up at home on 3-8, right before the MAC tournament against Sacred Heart. The other team, I mentioned 3 teams along the way there that we're only going to see once. I mentioned Merrimack. I mentioned Niagara. That's our only meeting with Niagara will be at Niagara. We're only meeting home against Merrimack. Two others in there. At Mount St. Mary's is the only game there. And the last one, the only time we're playing St. Peter's, if you noticed, is the home game there early in December. We are not playing in Jersey City. And Clarence Rupert's already kind of disappointed about that one. He noted that to me when I spoke to him last week. So that's the whole MAC schedule. There's 20 games there. What are we going to go in those games? Share your thoughts of those. 15-5, 14-6, 13-7, 10-10. This is the MAC. There's no predicting it. But hey, we have to predict it. That's what we do in the off season. So share your thoughts on that entire schedule. I will be posting my own picks on the Iona message board soon enough. Once all the Baja Mar games are settled, and we will go from there in terms of what to expect this year in year 2 of the Tobin Anderson era. All right, now that we've covered all of that, we've got an offer roundup. Lots of activity happening there.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
We might be getting a commit sooner than we think. Who knows? We're going to start off in the class of 2025. We've got a few new offers and a visit and maybe some decisions coming up. So 2 episodes ago, we mentioned John Barton getting an offer, 6'4" wing out of DC. Well, he's down to his final 3, and Iona's among them, along with Towson and NJIT. Further, Barton just visited Iona this past Monday, including last night's open practice. Barton is expected to make a decision very soon. We also had an unofficial visit from 6'8" forward Preston Fowler out of Brewster Academy, which of course we've got a few ties to around here. Fowler is a 4-star with a stack of high major offers, so this one would be quite the recruiting win. He also took an unofficial visit to Quinnipiac. These visits happened on Monday as well. He had also recent unofficial visits at Wake Forest, Penn State, and Oklahoma State. So it's fair to say his circle of interest is quite large. Dare to dream, folks. 4-star recruit maybe coming our way. Iona also recently offered 6'7" small forward Grant Polk out of St. Albans School in D.C., rated 3 stars on 247, has other offers from Fordham, Chattanooga, GW, Florida Gulf Coast, NJIT, Canisius, Morehead State, Youngstown State, and Northeastern. Considered a great shooter and defender, and he's tough on the glass as well. How about an offer to Jimmy James, a 6'6" combo guard or small forward out of Canada? Played last year at Casper Junior College and will be shifting to Northeastern Oklahoma A&M Junior College this year. 4 stars on Rivals, 3 on 247 and ESPN, and on 3. And offers from Georgetown, Washington State, Austin Peay, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Cal State, Bakersfield, Northern Illinois, Northern Iowa, Bowling Green. Interest from some high majors. Looks like a super talent if you watch his clips. Do we want another Momo? Iona has offered Mukisa Momo Ngugwa, a 6'7" lefty shooting guard out of Massachusetts. One of those tough physical guards, very athletic. He's got offers from Manhattan, Fairfield, Canisius, Brown, Albany, Maine, and Stonehill. Would be interesting to see if we get him. We'd like to have another Momo. And we've got a little taste of 2027. 6'9" center Kamsi Awaka out of Cheshire Academy in the New England Prep League also has offers from URI and High Point. Lots of high major interest as well. This one will be one to watch. Smarter the staff to get in on him early. Again, this is a 2027 recruit. How about one more class of 2027? We've offered Logan Rodriguez, a 6'8" forward out of upstate New York. He plays for the City Rocks. We are his first offer. Looks like he's just starting to make a name for himself. But class of 2027, Logan Rodriguez also picking up an offer. All right, it's time. Let's get to our recap of last night's open practice. I got to tell you, it was so good to like think about basketball, be around basketball again last night. It feels like it was forever ago, and it was only just a few months for us here. I mean, it's just early August, and mid-March or whatever. It's just a few months away, and here we are. And of course, at Iona, as again, so much has changed with the entire roster, with the culture of the program going from the coach who shall not be named to Tobin. And so getting a taste of the new Gales, the tougher Gales, the dogs, it was great to be a part of that. The weather probably held some fans back, but there was definitely a couple hundred people there last night at least to enjoy it. Tobin got to speak to the audience, so did Clarence Rupert, and we, of course, I have audio from those guys as well as Jalen Barr and Dejour Reaves that I'll be sharing after I give some takes. And again, I'm not going to go into detail. I'm not going to tell you about every player and all that stuff, but I will say a few things overall, and then some other points to make. But before I even get into that, this was a 2-hour practice. You could only take away so much from it. I mean, you can maybe make some inferences about who might be good at certain things, but it was such a small sample against ourselves. And you have to think of it this way, when something like, hey, the offense didn't score a lot of points, is it because the offense isn't good, or is it because our defense is really good? Or is the truth somewhere in the middle? There's no way to know, until you actually start playing other teams. And last night was a case of that. I mean, this is a physical team, tough kids. You can tell the style of play is very different from what we saw last year. We had a very finesse game last year, and that's just not us this year. I mean, if you're looking to see pretty basketball, you're probably not going to see it from this group. It's just a tough physical kids who want to grind you. And where the point's going to come from, we're going to find out. Because they were not too easy to come by last night in the scrimmages. Everything inside was contested. I'm going to stay on the defense for a bit because people focus on the offense in these things. Oh, this one made shots and this one looked good. I'm focusing on collectively. The defense is in a pretty good spot. Everything at the rim was challenged. Every perimeter. There was very little room to penetrate against us, and we have guys who can penetrate, and they were not, but we also have guys who can defend on the perimeter, and you saw some of those differences. We saw people cutting in the passing lanes. I mean, our offense will get better by practicing against ourselves, so I do think we'll see improvement in that area. But yeah, I think it's going to just feel like a very different team, and I think you guys are going to like what you see when you get a chance to see them if you weren't there last night. On the offensive end, yeah, like I said, I mean, it is harder. Defense tends to come along sooner than offense, is my understanding from talking to coaches. Maybe that's not 100% right 100% of the time, but I think for this group it is. You got 14 guys if you really that learning a new system. It takes time, and the nuances of offense are a little different than the one, the instinct that a lot of these guys have to defend takes over, and just the ability and athleticism. So yeah, the offense is going to be a little training behind the D, and so we did see some of that last night, but of course it's going to get better, and it's that you can sit there and say, hey, where's the outside shooting come from? Who's going to score? We didn't see people scoring in bunches on the regular and all of that, and maybe that's a good thing. That's how good we are on defense, or maybe we're not great on offense. Again, truth's probably somewhere in the middle, but it's also really, really early, so you can't just say, all right, well, I've seen enough, because we haven't seen anything yet. And may I remind everybody, I don't remember the kid's name now. I want to say it was like Perez or something, who a few years back scored 35 or something ridiculous in a inter-squad scrimmage, and then barely saw the court for us. So you have to take anything that you see in a practice with a grain of salt. But you can see things like toughness. You can see things like commitment to defense, and those things were there. And so I think we are trending in the right direction. Again, over time, the offense will only get better, but I think the defense is well on the way. Some individual takes. I have the roster they handed out. And I had this nice one-page roster with the schedule on it, with photos and everything, so you knew where everybody was last night. And for those who didn't, I knew where everybody was, but some people didn't. some guys who stood out for me. I'm just going no particular order on this. I should say that Biggie and Winborn had class. So they were there for a little bit and then they left. They really didn't participate too much in the scrimmage. So we didn't get to see a lot of those two guys. So that it's a bummer because I wanted to see, Biggie, he didn't really play all that much. But it's also, hey, they were at class. We think we can forgive that one. You know what I mean? So those guys were not playing much. And Jalen Barr didn't play much in the scrimmage. He was at the practice, but he didn't play as much. I wonder if he's nursing a minor injury or something, so they told him to not take part. I would like to have seen more of him as well. But those are the three guys we did not get to see. We did get to see a lot of everybody else. So again, I'm just going to quickly go through what I saw. I will go through everybody in the roster really quick, just a quick takeaway on everybody. Hogarth is raw, and again, he's going against more seasoned, older guys in Rupert and Mundi, so great people to learn from. So I think you're going to see some growth out of him. He's not going to start for us or anything like that, but I think he's going to be valuable for us, so we'll see. Adam Najai, he is going to be super. He glides around the court. He's going to grow up. He's a little lean, and sometimes I think he doesn't look to score even after. There was one sequence where he beat his man off the dribble, was in the paint by himself, and then kicked it out. And it's like, that's almost like what I saw out of JQ early last year before JQ decided, the hell with it, I'm just going to score. So maybe Najai is going to have a transition of some sort like that as he grows into his freshman shoes, and it'll be something to watch. Does he start slow and then by the time Mac play comes around, he's one of our best players? Who knows? But he is super fast. He glides. Just effortlessly around the court. He's got a very quick motions on everything he does. So be curious to see what he does over this course of the year. Dejour Reaves, I think a lot of people have assumed he's going to lead us in scoring since he's he's the highest proven D1 scorer we have on the roster, and there's no reason to think he won't, even after what we saw last night. He didn't make a lot of shots, but one thing I saw that was impressive, and it's something that we've talked about on the Islander board a bit, is he was distributing last night. He had some very pretty assists driving and then dishing off to somebody cutting, and I can think of at least three in the top of my head that I saw. So I think we were questioning whether he had the ability to be that kind of guy where maybe he doesn't score. He averaged 15 points a game last year at Northern Colorado. Maybe he doesn't score 15 for us. There's no given he will. But maybe he averages 12 and averages 5 assists a game. Who the hell knows, And I can see that. So we'll see what happens there. Clarence Rupert, beast, alpha. I can't wait. I can't wait to see him for us. Everything you remember from his days at St. Peter's, he's that much more seasoned. Can make more shots from the outside. Just tough inside, challenges everything at the rim. Your guys are gonna love him. I can't say anymore. It's just awesome. Luke Jungers, he impressed me. I wasn't sure. We knew he was a shooter, and he made a whole bunch of shots during the warm-ups that Udinod some people that he just kept reining him in. But he showed me other things during the actual scrimmage. He showed a spin move late and very late to get free and get make a layup. A little more toughness than I thought maybe coming from him. So and it'll be interesting to see what he does. So, but I think he'll be in the rotation. He provides a little different look. So. Like I said, Christian Winborn, we didn't get to see much either. Kome Emubor, I can't put my finger on who he reminds me of, but he's got that little bit of a dog in him too, where he's on the glass, he's defending really hard. I don't think he's going to score a ton of points for us. Maybe in transition he might, but he's not a great shooter from what we saw last night. But he's effective. He's one of those guys that you're like, God, why is he playing? And yet he's you look up at the end of the day, he's going to have 8 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, a block. He's going to be one of those kind of guys. So I'm curious to see how much he evolves with us. Josh Michigan, preferred walk-on, made some plays last night. So we'll see what he does. In a pinch, I'm sure he can play for us. So JoJo Walsh, I think, is the guy that most people are going to peg as one of the more impressive guys last night. He is probably, he probably was before last night and is now the most pure scorer on the team. Whether the rest of his game catches up to that, and again, I'm not saying I didn't see him like pass well or defend well or anything like that, but he's going to need to be complete. But he will score for us. I mean, I'm confident in that, and you'll hear Tobin talk about him too. But last night, in terms of offensive ability, he probably was the most impressive Gale, which is scary because he's a freshman. So we'll see how he evolves. It'll be interesting. Justin Menard he was labeled as a very heady point guard, that true point guard that every team wants to have, and he definitely showed a lot of that last night. So he's going to be part of this rotation. He's an effective player. He also made a couple threes, so these are freshmen, and it's hard to pinpoint when you have freshmen against a bunch of older guys, but it's also hard to say, well, he's not going to be good enough, or he's not going to pick up the offense well enough. I don't know if I can say that about anyone. That doesn't mean we're going to go 14 deep or 13 deep or anything like that. I mean, usually you're gonna get a pecking order, and you're going to get 10 guys that play more and 3 guys that play less, or whatever it might turn out to be. But it's hard. I can't even come close to put my finger on it right now. I don't know if Tobin can. It might be too early. Another guy who impressed some people, I think, last night was Kernan Bundy. Surprisingly athletic. And you guys heard me in the last podcast when we previewed him with Brandon Goebel. We talked about how he's got a little swagger to his game, and I think we saw that last night. So he's got a little edge to him out there, and he's one of those guys that if he turns out to be a solid player for us, the opponents are going to hate him. He's going to be that annoying guy on the other team that we all have had over the years. And I think he could be that guy for us. But you know what? I don't mind that. After, I think last year's team was almost too nice. I think we need some guys with a little more edge to them, and I think we've got that here. So let's see. I'm curious to see how Kernan fits into the rotation as well. Fit Mundi impressed a lot of guys, I think, last night. He was every bit as tough as Rupert. Probably not quite as polished yet, but he's effective scoring on the low post. He did a lot of great things. There's no doubt he's gonna play a ton for us. So it'll be fun to see him develop. And again, Jalen Barr didn't get to scrimmage, but I've heard great things about him too. So what I'm seeing, there's a lot of interchangeable parts. I see guys who are going to defend, guys who are tough, guys who can grab rebounds. A good number of guys who can go to the basket. I think people might say, where the 3-point shooting coming from? And that's outside of JoJo. We didn't see it from anybody consistently. So we'll see about that. But again, was it a product of the defense? Who knows? So we'll see how that evolves. But outside of that, this is what a team looks like on offense in August. They're going to have to they'll get better. I mean, they're going to get better. So, and we got a tough schedule, as we know. So it'll be, as we covered earlier. So, it'll be interesting to see. But I'm optimistic. It's hard to put a number on wins and all of that just yet. I'm going to think more about that, and I'm sure I'll reveal that in a future episode. But this team is definitely trending in the right direction. I'm confident to say that they're going to be better than last year's team. Are we talking 2 games better? Are we talking 6 games better? I don't want to put a number on that yet, but we are trending in the right direction without a doubt. So that's my take on all what we saw last night. Probably more than I was going to say. But I want to switch gears and get to all the audio. So Jaden Daly was with me last night. So was Sam Fetterman. And so was Eugene Rapay from the Journal News. So, and Ken Kreitzer was there too. You guys probably saw some audio from him last night, or video from him. So let's get to some audio from last night without further ado. It's going to be Tobin Anderson, then Clarence Rupert, then Jalen Barr, and then Dejour Reaves. Enjoy, everyone.
Tobin, how much of a learning experience was last year as far as having to start from scratch and get a clearer sense of what you needed and how to go about tackling?
I think anytime, right, new job, it's going to take some time. And obviously what happened at FDU was a little bit of a freak thing. Let's just be honest about it, right? The things had to fall into place. And so last year, it's going to take some time to build things up a little bit. And I think we've all learned, and especially everything's changed now with recruiting and how you build rosters and build a team. So things have changed a lot. So I think we learned a lot. I mean, I know personally, I learned a ton about how to, in this day and age, to construct a better roster, to find more guys who fit what we're looking for, how to recruit in a short period of time. So I think last year definitely gave us an advantage going into this year. Like, we saw the mistakes we made a little bit, and we tried to correct them, and I think we have.
Coach, you said you learned a lot of things. Can you be a little specific about certain things that you learned, that maybe that you did that you don't want to do again?
Yeah, I mean, it's important. It's important. Like, first of all, you're not building an all-star roster, right? You build a team. So a team, like we have guys in this year's team who do things that are specific to help us win, right? You saw like a couple of the guys, like Kernan Bundy and Jalen Barr, probably didn't average 10 points a game last year for their college team. One was in a JUCO, one was in Division II, but they're winners, right? So we didn't try to build an all-star roster. We tried a better job building a team and finding guys who could help us win in a lot of different ways. And we kind of went back to our roots as far as like defensive guys, speed, quickness, toughness, guys who could play our tempo, play our pace. So we kind of went back to what we call it the Iona DNA now, but it came from Stack. It went to FDU. It's like guys that do well for us, right? We love gym rats. We love guys who want to be in the gym. We love guys who have a chip on their shoulder. We have guys who have a chip on their shoulder. Like the guys that are here want to do big things, want to win. And like you saw, they're winners. We have guys that come from winning programs, have habits to help you win. The guys we got here are guys from great programs. I think that's going to be a big asset to us as we go through a whole season.
What are your thoughts on the changing recruiting landscape? You touched on it a little bit, but other guys in the MAC too seem to be dealing with the same problem as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just reality. It's just kind of where we're at right now, and it's like you have to manage it. You have to accept it. You can't complain about it. You have to find a way to be successful in this era, and it's not as easy. It's not as much fun. It used to be you go to you'd plan things 2 or 3 or 4 years in advance. When kid's a freshman, when he's a junior, he'll be our top 3 player, that kind of thing. Well, it's not the same anymore. So you have to adjust, and like we constantly talk more about the options that are out there recruiting wise, and obviously a big thing is getting guys who come here to stay. And I think getting them to stay is have a lot of success. Iona's had a lot of success traditionally, and if we can have a lot of success and win and make it a great experience, and obviously tonight having fans come out and the support we get in the community and from our fans only helps to make them feel more at home and hopefully keep them here. But it's definitely like my spring used to be. I would have a little more free time. I would say there's no more free time in the spring. It's constantly recruiting, constantly trying to build your roster to the best you can and spend time. Like I flew out every one of these guys on a roster. I flew out to and saw them in person, like face-to-face contact, met them, met their families, spent time with them, and you have to do that. If you don't do that, you won't get a chance to know them as well. So it's a shorter time, so you have to build those bonds quicker, And like I said, tonight was our 38th workout together as a team. We spent so much time together just because you have to. You have 2 months. 2 months has to feel like almost like 2 years sometimes. And so we're trying to speed up this whole thing as much as we can.
Who stood out so far, in your opinion? I know it's probably still early.
Yeah, I mean, like listen, the older guys, the guys are used to like the Clarence Rupert's been great. Obviously, he knows what it takes to win. He's been through a summer before, what it's like. Dejour Reaves, same thing. Like he's a guy who's had success at this level, had a chance to win. But like the guys that have been impressive, like a Jalen Barr who comes from a Division II school, who was a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, just knows how to make things happen, like knows how to make winning plays. He doesn't shoot a lot, but he makes an impact on the game, right? And our freshmen are good. Like our freshman, Adam Anjai is going to be a really good freshman point guard for us. You saw Jojo Wallace. Jojo Wallace can score. He can score. He can score. If he was playing against me and my staff 3-on-3, he would score. If he plays against our guys in practice, he would score. If he put 10 NBA guys out there, he'd score as well. So he can really score, and he's been impressive as well. And then our front line, our size, I think we're bigger, we're stronger, we're more physical with Yafet, Rupert, Luke Jungers has had a great summer. There's a lot of, like obviously you get caught up sometimes in wanting to be overly optimistic, but I think I have a pretty good feel. It's my 24th year being a head coach. Like I like these guys. They give me energy. There was times last year I was drained personally. And I love what I do, so I don't feel like if we were going to practice again tomorrow, we'd go practice tomorrow. These guys are fun to be around.
Coach, you recruited Biggie a couple of years ago at Stack, but you never got the chance to coach him there. How has he developed since you recruited him, and what has it been like to finally get the chance to coach him?
That's a good question. Well, first of all, I probably should have. We brought 4 guys to FDU. I probably should have brought 5. I should have brought Biggie, so it might have been a mistake 2 years ago. But Matt Capel's a head coach, a good friend of mine, so we kind of we rented him out for 2 years to him. And Matt did a great job. Like he just knows now how to win, how to. He's gotten better, shoots the ball much better now. He's gotten bigger, he's gotten stronger, he's got more mature. he's been a focal point of scouting reports where people are geared to stop him now, so he knows what it's like to get a lot of attention. And I think he brings a good pedigree of success, both personally and as a part of a good team. So, and he knows our system. Like we have no one here who knows our system like he knows our system. He played in the same system at St. Thomas Aquinas, and so he knows how we're playing, how we're pressing. He kind of teaches the other guys as well, so that helps.
Second year in a row, whole new roster. Have you changed how you teach your system?
That's a great question, Guy. Which I'm not surprised by you asking. Was that a podcast question?
It might have been.
Yeah, it might have been. Yes, that's a great question, and yeah, absolutely. We've got to be. We spent much more time as a staff. How we're going to teach things, being more patient, like simplifying things. Like I keep asking the guys, is it simple? Is it understand? I want them to be instinctive. I want them to play with reckless abandon, right? And to do that, you got to feel comfortable. You got to feel like it's simple. And so we've definitely changed our implementation of things. We didn't put the press in until about 2 weeks ago, as you can probably see by watching us play. We would almost all half-court defense, almost all half-court offense, a lot of skill stuff. And so we may be behind team concept-wise, but we're way ahead as far as competitiveness, camaraderie, playing together, playing for each other. That part's more important than anything else.
Stress the emphasis to improve on the rebounding between Clarence and Yafet. How much do you feel you've done an effective job of doing that?
I think really effective, and then you put Biggie with those guys. And we're going to play. And people realize we're going to play Clarence and Yafet. We play them together tonight, I think, right? We did that just for the people, our fans to know. We're going to play those guys together with Biggie as a 3-man. That's a big physical, athletic front line. And then Hogarth is a freshman who's going to be a beast as well off the bench. And so we have a good group of guys up front who are physical, and we won't get bullied. I think I texted Guy after one of those guys committed, and I said the bullying time is over. We will not get bullied up front. And Yafet and Rupert, they're not only physical, like they want to like inflict harm. You know, I mean they want to hit people. You know, they're like defensive linemen. So and then then a guy like Luke Jungers, who's a 6'9" guy who can shoot the ball, is a change of speed, change of pace guy who can play with those guys. So no, I'm really excited about the front line.
You talked about Clarence being a leader. How much did his knowledge of his confidence help you in the recruiting process, and what did he relay to you that suggested he'd be a good fit?
Well, it goes both ways, right? Like we knew he's a guy that's had success here, knows what it takes to win at this level, and has the experience, right? And then I think he knows he can have some great success here too. And so he's won a bunch of games. I think I'd like to see Clarence become a all-conference player. He hasn't done that yet. We talked about that, and part of that is him staying healthy and staying out of foul trouble and things like that. But I think for him personally, coming to the MAC is a great thing. And I think for us, obviously, the team, he brings a lot of, when we talk about going to the NCAA tournament, winning games, there's a guy who went to the Elite Eight, like, no one else has to. No one has to. There's no questions being asked about that. There's no way. What have you done? Like he's done it before. And played a big role in doing it. So and like he wants to get back to it. He knows how important it is to win, right? He knows winning is the most important thing, and I think that carries over.
How much did the two of you bond over beating Purdue in the tournament? You guys share stories about
We've told a few stories about that. Yeah, that's definitely been talked about a little bit. Like, we're only two guys in the gym who've beaten Purdue, so he likes those.
Just going back in time, when the last guy transferred out, did you anticipate like that mass exodus? How did you recover from that? And did you feel, what was the recruiting strategy after that? Was it demoralizing? How did you kind of turn the page after?
What was demoralizing was getting beat by Manhattan by 25 points, right? So the lowest point of last year, the lowest point for a long time for me was leaving the Manhattan gym, leaving Dratty, not competing, not being in the game, getting our ass kicked by 25 points, quite frankly, right? So that was kind of the low as it gets. So like whatever had to happen, the changes had to be made, right? We knew that. I knew that. Like I'm not talking about changes necessarily with just the personnel, with just how we did things, how we approached things. Like when you're building when you come in new, and like we're not building a program because I know it's an unbelievable program, but you're starting from scratch. You got to build the culture and all that kind of stuff. We didn't have that last year, and so we had to get to that. And I think we've done a really good job. And time will tell. Obviously, we can talk how you want to. And in August, what happens in the winter will make the difference. But like we had to get to that point and build this culture. So I was demoralized whatever night that was, like in February. I was not demoralized when guys were leaving. So if you don't want to be here and do what we have to do to be successful, we're better off going someplace else, and we'll find guys who want to be here. These guys all want to be here. They all want to compete. They're all here for the right reasons, and I feel really good about that.
Did you remember from a couple of years ago that wanted to bring you here, and what about this place makes it such a great fit for you?
It's so crazy. I was actually watching when Tobin Anderson was in the Species team. And the camera just kept being on him constantly. They was like how hard he coaches and how he always want to play aggressive stuff like that. I was looking like, damn, like I need a coach like that. And then once I learned that he came out on Iona, I had to do one more year, so let me know it. That went to portal, and the first person to hit me up was Tobin. He was like, yeah. Like first thing he said was, look, man, like me and you, we both winners. We beat Purdue. He said that on the rail. Like we both beat Purdue. Like we trying to get out to that tournament. Like how you feeling? I'm like, man, I'm feeling good, man. You know, like I already know who you are. You don't got to say your name. I already know this Tobin. It's Brandon, my guy Brandon from Southern Illinois, connected us and stuff like that. So I already knew who Tobin was and how he coached stuff like that. So I already know what it was. And it's good to be back in the MAC because people think like the MAC is some lower conference. There's so many good teams in the MAC. Like Iona been winning the MAC for year after year, or St. Peter's been winning the MAC for year after year. So like I don't know why people think the MAC is just some light run or people just come beat people on the MAC. The MAC is every game is hard. Nobody's coming here beating people 20 plus or 30 plus. Every game will be treacherous, hard every night.
Clarence, what do you have to say about this team? I mean, I know you just started to meet these guys over the last couple of months, but completely new team, 14 new guys. How are you guys meshing?
I wouldn't say this is a new team. Like honestly, to me, I feel like I knew these guys for 3 years. We all hang out with each other every day. We come in here 20, 30 minutes before practice, laugh with each other, joke with each other. We in the locker room till about 10 o'clock at night, joking with each other. I don't feel like this is a whole new team. I feel like I've been on this team for all 4 years of my college life, honestly. I feel like this new team gelled together well. We all bond together. I feel like we can go on the MAC and really cause some trouble.
When you have this many new guys trying to learn a system, how long does it take in terms of just getting comfortable?
I feel like it didn't take long at all. We got here June 1st, and we learned the system probably by past my birthday, probably like June 20th. It's because we had a players only meeting one day. We all had to bond together. Every school, every new person here, they didn't press. Nobody here pressed. I was new to the press. Biggie new to the press. They new to the press. And Tobin just emphasized to us like, yo, we're pressing. We're gonna be playing half court defense hard and everything. So we all just had a player meeting like, yo, like this is what we gotta do. If we don't, we gonna lose. If we don't, yeah, it's simple as that. We gonna lose.
Clarence, we can tell that you're a leader on this team. When Tobin called you that first day, did you know that you would have to be a leader in this group, and what kind of made you really become that leader when you got here?
Honestly, I didn't. Honestly, I feel like I've been a leader all 4 years of college. Coming in as a freshman, I try to be a leader. But we had older guys as well that were leaders. But I always try to be a leader to the younger guys below me and stuff like that. But Tobin told me that when I came in, I was going to have to be a leader off the real. Because there's a whole bunch of young guys, only 3 seniors in the team, me, JB, and Day-Day. So he told me off rip, like Clarence, you got to come here and be a leader. Like people gonna look up to you. You're a winner. So show them how to have winning experience.
And what does it mean to you to be put in that role?
It means a lot. It means a lot because the guys look up to me. I come and practice every day. I practice hard, and once I practice hard, now they in line. They practicing hard stuff like that. We're having 38 good practices. So everybody just fall in line, honestly.
Follow that up the first couple of years at St. Peter's when Shaw was playing 10, 11, 12 guys. How much did that help you and shape you to be the leader that you are?
It shaped me well because Shaw believes in me off rip. As soon as I got there, he started me, and when we had like 3-4 seniors, he could start over me. He believed in me off the rip. So Shaw really molded me to the guy I am right now.
Do you feel like there's a culture forming here that kind of resembles some of these programs that you've been in the past and you've seen a lot of winning?
Oh, yeah, y'all already know the culture here. Look at the banners. It's winning year after year, championship. The culture here is winning. So we're trying to bring that winning back. Last year didn't go as well, so we're trying to come this year and bring that winning culture back.
Just a lot of new faces on this team. Who are some players that the fans should look out for? Who jumped out to you so far this summer?
To me, JB, Kearney, Biggie, Day-Day, Adam, JoJo, Josh, who else?
That's 7.
right there. Coleman, Connor. Look, JB right here, matter of fact. JB.
Who's your favorite teammate?
JB, Biggie, Day-Day, Adam, Connor, Coleman.
You can't list the whole team, sir.
Well, yeah, but honestly, the whole team's made bigger jumps. We got the stats to prove it. Shout out Rich. Rich been getting us in here since we got here, honestly. You can tell by the stats, we've been jumping higher, getting bigger, shooting better. This year, I found it's going to be a complete year, honestly.
Jalen, coming in from a winning program in Division II, being a leader at that level, how much does that help you in the transition to this level here and imparting what you've learned on some of these new younger guys?
Absolutely. I mean, it helped me lead them in a sense, like keep this providing the effort and teaching them what I learned while I was at the Division II level. Just because of what it took me to get to a Final Four. I know I've been there. Every season I had, I was a 20+ season. So when I did play, so I take a little bit from each season to try to apply it to what coaches are teaching us, and I know how they want to play. I'm gonna help and teach the guys that way. That's the only way they play together.
It's been a few weeks, like Coach has been saying. How comfortable are you guys getting in the system?
In the system?
So it's a work in progress.
It's
right?
still a work in progress. Since my game is the defense, I mean, I love the defense we're playing right now. Offensively, that's the work in progress. We didn't really touch too much on that this off season or this summer session. So we're still touching on it and we're still learning that part. But it looks good. But everything looks good in my eyes. Great start.
A lot of new faces on this team. How would you say that the team's kind of come together and start meshing with one another?
We started meshing quite real, I feel like. All of my boys, like, I feel like I'm at home right now. And I know they should feel the same way because I know I got each and every one of their backs. And yeah, this is definitely the team that I would go to war with anytime.
What most attracted you to Iona? What made this place feel like home to you?
The coaches. The coaches really made this program right here feel like home. They was together. They was organized, and they kept it real from the jump. Everything they said was real. Ever since I've been here, they haven't told me not one lie yet. They told me many things, not one lie yet. All summer, I'm loving it. Why not trust them?
What was that first phone call like with Tobin and the coaching staff?
First phone call? What was that first phone call like? With Tobin, I don't think God taught this. Oh, boom. I knew who he was, but it was calm. It was over. One of the first ones was over Zoom. I met all the coaching staff. They let me know what the game plan was, how they play, who does the personal training, the skill training, and and what Iona was about. From the Hall of Fame to the NBA to the coaching staff and just the Iona people itself, the Iona community, which was great.
Why Iona?
Why Iona? Coach, all the coaches on the coaching staff showed me real genuine love. My family, I felt it. My family felt the love that they were showing. Coach Tobin flew out to Colorado, and it was just like a wonderful time.
How different is the system that you guys were playing in North Colorado compared to this system?
I feel like this pace is like real life, very fast. Northern Colorado, it was fast, but it wasn't this fast. And we pick up full court, so that's like a totally different ball game from where I was at before.
When you have this many guys learning a new system, how tough is it to get on the same page?
Just communication. I feel like that's what just gonna bring everything together, even if it take like a small step at a time. That's what we say all the time. Just take 1% a day. You don't gotta go from 1% to 50. Just one step at a time. You ain't gotta make a big jump.
Big Sky is one of the more unique conferences out there. What did you think you learned going through that grind?
Can you say that again?
The Big Sky is kind of a unique conference out there out west. What did you learn going through that grind with Northern Colorado?
I learned a lot. Just like basically like becoming a better player, like just like things that I had to get better at as a player, like being more vocal, becoming a more better leader than just trying to score the ball, just doing other things that I needed to do to help the team win.
Tell you, what about your game is most attractive to the way this team plays, and how does it suit you?
I feel like my game is like very up-paced, like it's very fast, and I feel like that was the best fit for me to come into Iona. It just called fast, Tobin played. He had a similar guard at FDU, Meach, and like, I feel like we play like our game is like very similar, very fast. You can score the ball, you can pass the ball, do everything right to help the team win.
38 summer workouts so far. What do you say about this team's, just competitiveness and just attitude when they hit the court?
I feel like our team this summer is like it's just like straight dogs. I feel like I've never had like a team just like 15 players just like straight dogs. We come in here, we fight. There's blood everywhere, every day on the court. But after that, it's just all love.
with everyone being brand new? How would you say that you guys are kind of coming together and just kind of gelling?
I feel like we do a lot of like team bonding things. Like even if it's not like the coaches making us, we'll still find time upon ourselves to go out to eat, walk the avenue, come to, like somebody they'll come up, play the game at the club, or just find anything to be like to get closer as a team.
Everyone, it's season 5 and it's preview season. The basketball season is actually here. Well, not really, but hey, I was watching basketball last night. To me, it's here. So it's time to get excited, people. Stay tuned for all the previews coming up with some great guests this fall as we get closer to real basketball in November. Go Gales.
Thank you for listening to this edition of the IonaHoops.com podcast. This podcast is a production of IonaHoops.com and its publisher Guy Filatico. The opinions shared during this podcast are those of Guy Filatico, IonaHoops.com, and any featured guests. This podcast is not affiliated with Iona University Athletics or the university itself. Thank you for supporting IonaHoops.com.